to save our world. We have to change our lives.
At the moment, as you can see, we are trying to get the compost pit where we're going to put our compost manure for decomposition. And so we're first getting the measurements, and as we are drafted on paper, we expect the length to be 9 feet and the width will be 6 feet. So as we continue, we shall keep seeing other procedures. In fighting climate change, we look at things such as reducing greenhouse gas emissions and waste management. First things first. When we talk about waste management, look at things such as household refuse, paper, animal wastes, and the plant cuttings, or what we call green materials. Here we are looking at making compost manure, and in making compost manure, we need 4 things in particular. We have the green materials, brown materials, water, and air. What do we call the green materials? We're looking at things such as kitchen refuse, and this include the banana leaves, which have been used for cooking. Other things such as leaves, grass clippings. Then we have cow dung, and cow dung is referred to as a natural booster because it contains bacteria generally, and cow dung has the aspect of methane, which gives a lot of nitrogen in the atmosphere. Another thing we are looking at what we call the dry materials. In making compost manure, we need to maintain what we call a carbon-nitrogen ratio. If these are giving us nitrogen, then the paper should be there to give us carbon. Apart from paper, we can use something such as wood shavings, things such as wood itself and wood clippings, something like that. But we need to maintain what we call a carbon-nitrogen ratio. Here we have made our pit for the compost manure, and want to explain briefly about how everything is done so that we can attain compost and at least lower the rate at which artificial or synthetic fertilizers are used, and on the other hand they release a lot of nitrous oxides to the environment. What we are starting with are the green materials. As I said earlier, these ones contain nitrogen in them, and these are the dry materials. They contain carbon in them. When you look at cow dung, generally in making compost manure, we look at the idea of decomposition, and what carries out this decomposition is bacteria called putrefying bacteria, for which these bacteria should be supported in different ways. That's why we bring in the aspect of water. Why is water in this process? Because water, every living thing requires moisture to grow, be it a human, be it an animal. You require water to grow and to multiply. So water supports things such as decomposition. When we pour that water in the pit, as you're seeing it being done, the water is being poured in the pit. It shall give chance for the moisture to keep evaporating and give the necessary temperature required for the bacteria to multiply. If the bacteria multiplies, we shall have it in the way that the decomposition of the waste will be enhanced and be done quicker, and then we get whatever we need very well at the moment. The cow dung at the moment. Cow dung is deposited by animals in the environment. It contains bacteria, generally the putrefying bacteria, because it's always rotting in the environment. And another thing, cow dung contains what we call methane, which is a nitrogen compound. This methane here will come down and break up because of the presence of the putrefying bacteria, and will evolve into nitrates. Actually, in growth of plants, for good fertility and better yields, nitrates are required. And so when all this decomposes very well in this pit, we shall have what we call the nitrate fertilizer being formed. First thing, we would have fought for filtration of water in the ground due to the waste blocking it. That's the first thing. And another thing, would have lowered the emission of greenhouse gases in the way that instead of burning these wastes to produce carbon dioxide and nitrous oxides in the atmosphere, would have made some better use of the waste. Number one, improved our yields, because in fighting climate change, all we need enough food, because people suffer a lot. One, putting in a lot of money to get synthetic fertilizers, which in the end are very dangerous to the ecosystem. It's all about protecting our ecosystem, and in fighting climate change, we all need to do whatever it takes to ensure that our goal is achieved. Thank you.
Now, it doesn't take us to